quick. So, thanks everybody for coming to lecture number 15 in year 3 of the lectures being put on by the International Hempology 101 Society and the UVSS Hempology 101 Club. Today I'm proud to have my friend and love Gail do the class on growing cannabis. A couple of, I guess, logistics with the society before we get that far. The lecture, in 2 weeks' time, on February 15th, we have our 10th annual Cannabis Convention coming up. It's been advertised and posted online, and the speakers include a Victoria police officer. We're very excited about that. In 2 weeks' time, Gail will be back here teaching another lesson on how to make the products of the Cannabis Buyers Club and their benefits and such. So we really look forward to having a lesson on medicinal cannabis products and how they're made, and always eager to learn more from her on that. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. Next week, you gotta bear with me in the medical uses of cannabis. I should note also that in March, we have Dana Larson coming to talk and do the pot and politics class. So I don't think I've formally announced that yet, but we have Dana coming here, committed for, I think it's March the 10th, but I'm probably wrong about that too. So a number of exciting things happening, including the creation, as we know, of the World Society of Cannabis Research. And we've now started posting a lot more minutes of different meetings and committees and such dealing with our society and Whisker in particular. So if you check out the forums on hempology.ca, you'll be able to learn a lot more about what we're doing. Today though, really, we're here to talk about one of the more enjoyable aspects of cannabis, as opposed to fighting the law, which can be a bit draining, and focus on the growing of the plant. Now, Gail did a talk 2 years ago. I think it's up on YouTube and such, like many classes are. And I believe today's lesson is going to build off of some of what was taught back then. So I think she'll refer to it a few times, but here we go with Gail's first ever PowerPoint presentation.
Thanks everybody for coming. And as Ted said, 2 years ago I gave a talk on growing, but mostly concentrated on cloning. And I did a demonstration with the rose bush, and it went over fairly well, and I don't want to repeat the same information, but we will touch on it briefly. And if I miss anything, please feel free to contact us at the club, and we're always available for questions. And I'll try to leave a little bit of time at the end of today to answer questions. So I'm going to just dive right in. Growing all plants has been a passion of mine, inspired by my dad since I was, it's one of my earliest memories at the age of 4 years old, and I started growing my first cannabis plants when I was 13. So here we go. This is sprouting. There's 2 main ways of starting your seeds. The old-fashioned way that's been working for thousands of years, and is becoming a preference again just because of stability of genetics and reviving older strains of medicine. Sprouting seeds has been being used for thousands of years. Now, this picture here is a good way of doing it, except for they're using chlorinated napkins. That's enough chlorine just in the napkins to kill your seeds. So I like to use unbleached, either cheesecloth or paper napkins like that, but that's important to remember, as well as filtering your water for heavy metals and chlorine, because the thing to remember with all things growing is that the chemicals or fertilizers and pollutants in the water that they're exposed to, anything that they take up and use to be built out of is going to be part of their system. You're not going to be able to flush it all away. So you want to have the purest of everything possible right from the start. So unless these were soaked in water for at least 12 hours, and in that case they probably disintegrated by now. I wouldn't germinate my seeds like that, but you can keep them wet, put them in a saucer between 2 sheets, or another way is just to throw them in a jar of water and leave them for 12 hours and then strain them off and do the same way as this. The second way, preference of indoor growers is, and for larger amounts of growing, is cloning. And the reason we do this is to be strain specific. You can reproduce the same plant over and over and over. And then you can keep a mother plant alive by trimming all of the ends and rooting them and never letting, keeping it under a different set of lights, a lighting situation, so it's always in a vegetative state. It never gets to flower. This is not particularly a good cloning procedure right here, and the reason for that would be I would move it to right here. First of all, you have to take this one off, which is right here, to be buried in the ground anyway, and it's putting a lot of stress on the plant. It's easier for the plant to start a new branch from this joint here than it is down here. And it's always going to want to start, make more branches every time you take an end off, so you might as well help it and do the easiest for it possible. A good healthy mother plant should can quite often yield you at least 10 plants at one time, maybe more depending on the age of it. Could maybe to about 20 for an older, quite older plant. And another reason for cloning is like so you know the conditions the plant has come from, and you know everything's sterile right from the start. So that's why indoor growers like cloning. This is a very nice chart showing deficiencies. The plants are well adapted, showing you conditions that they have too much of or not enough of as they're growing. And it's been studied for so long that it's all very well documented, all of these signs. Back in the 60s and 70s, the University of Winnipeg did extensive research on cannabis, and it's responsible for introducing quite a few of the newer strains that we have, because they started developing the sensimilla and reproducing things by cloning as opposed from seeds. So we'll carry on because I like the next one. This one's really nice to have on your wall and be able to go home and click it.
Right click and then previous.
Yeah. Okay. So now this one's very specific. It explains, says okay, a lack of nitrogen at the top. The plants have a pale color and they develop red stems and they don't grow too small. The leaves get yellow, so you add chemical fertilizer, or they're getting very good at making organic fertilizers now too, so you don't have to rely so much on chemical fertilizers. There's different ways of growing indoor. You can grow hydroponically, which you have a medium in your bucket and through a series of